In the hopes of rewriting history, Naoya Inoue will compete in the same venue where he was title status. Champion and the Filipino Marlon Tapales for the unification of the junior featherweight category is scheduled. At the Ariake Arena in Tokyo on December 26th, they'll be competing for their lineal WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO championships. Thus, keep watching this video to learn more about the fight. The fight has been officially scheduled. As Inoue looks to become just the second male boxer in the history of the sport to achieve undisputed status in two different weight classes, the fight will be shown live on ESPN Plus in the early hours after Christmas. The Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum stated this about the pound-for-pound contender Naoya Inoue, who is also co-promoted by Top Rank. "The sensational Naoya Inoue astounds with every performance," Arum added. "We're witnessing an all-time great fighter at the apex of his career," said one of the commentators. On December 26th, he'll be facing a tough and strong Filipino champion named Marlon Tapales. But we have full faith that the monster will rise to the challenge and emerge victorious. As his last bout, Tapales, on the other hand, puts his WBA and IBF belts on the line since both fighters will try their maiden defense at the weight class. After defeating Marlon Tapales in San Antonio, Texas on April 8th by a 12-round split decision, Tapales began to hold titles in two different weight classes. The southpaw boxer had previously won the WBO Bantamweight Championship in July 2016, but he failed to make weight and was therefore stripped of the belt. He knocked out Shohei Amore in the 11th round of their fight in April 2017. Over the course of his 15-year professional career, Tapales has won 4 times in Japan. On more history for Japan, with his victory against Paul Butler, he became Japan's first ever undisputed champion in the 4-belt period. He also became the first undisputed bantamweight world champion since Panama's Enrique Pinder in 1972. As a result of his victory against Fulton, Inoue became Japan's first boxing champion to hold Tapales of the Philippines, who immediately after his victory against Akhmadaliev sought such a bout for his instant post-fight interview. If Inoue is victorious, he'll become just the second male boxer in the world and the third overall boxer in the world to totally unify all 4 major belts, WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO, at 2 additional weights. As an example, Terrence "Bud" Crawford, who has a perfect record with 31 knockouts, made history when he stopped Errol Spence in the 9th round to become the undisputed welterweight champion 6 years after he previously held the same title in the junior welterweight division. Thus, within the period of only 1 year, it is possible for Inoue to become an unchallenged champion in not 1 but 2 weight classes. Because of his super champion status with the WBO, he will have the chance to immediately contend for the featherweight championship held by the sanctioning organization in 2024. On the other hand, Inoue's current strategic plan calls for him to continue competing at the junior featherweight level for the foreseeable future. The odds regarding the upcoming fight. Bob Arum has been working in the sport of boxing as a promoter for close to 60 years. Therefore, the opinions he has on Naoya Inoue should be taken seriously. And despite the fact that Arum strives to generate excitement before each blockbuster fight that he promotes, the native New Yorker's decades of ringside observations have established him as a known, authoritative voice inside the sport. At the Ariake Arena in Tokyo on December 26th, a Super Bantamweight Championship unification fight between Inoue and his opponent from the Philippines, Marlon Tapales, is scheduled to take place. He's fresh off a victory against Marlon Akhmadaliev, which took place on April 8th in San Antonio, Texas, and was decided by a split decision. Tapales was able to take both championships away from his Uzbek opponent as a result of his action at Ariake Arena. Inoue was competing in the Super Bantamweight division for the first time. As a direct consequence of this, Inoue was awarded both the WBC and WBO championship titles that had been held by Fulton. As a result, the chances for the forthcoming battle seem to favor Inoue, according to the opinions of a large number of fans and experts. Arum's impression of Inoue. After the Inoue-Fulton bout was over, top-ranking head honcho Arum and Tapales were in the ring, which instantly produced anticipation for the next chapter in Inoue's boxing career. And both Inoue and Tapales, who posed for selfies with their belts that night, expressed a desire to fight each other before the end of the year in their respective conversations that night. Is this a performance? Without a doubt, but you shouldn't for 1 second believe that Arum wouldn't have recommended it if someone else hadn't already done so. In fact, Arum does his best to publicize Inoue's bouts on a worldwide scale. The 91-year-old man started his career as a promoter in 1966, 2 years after Muhammad Ali, who was then known as Cassius Clay, won his first fight against Sonny Liston at Miami Beach, Florida. So what are Aram's thoughts on Inoue, who gave up his 4 bantamweight championship belts at the beginning of 2023 in order to compete in the super bantamweight division? According to the latest press release from Top Rank, Aram has been quoted as saying, "The sensational Naoya Inoue astounds with every performance. We are witnessing an all-time great fighter in the prime of his career." Inoue was able to make Fulton seem ordinary. You have to keep in mind who Stephen Fulton was before you got involved in this. He made an unbeaten fighter, a great boxer, and a person with a wide range of skills appear like he was just another average guy. According to Mark Kriegel, who was interviewed by ESPN, "I've never seen Fulton look so tentative, and it was by a smaller guy." After his victories against Daniel Roman, Brandon Figueroa, and Angelo Leo, it's reasonable to assume that fans gave Fulton a little too much credit for his abilities. All of those bouts were quite close, with Fulton prevailing by outboxing his opponents while displaying no power whatsoever. Although Fulton is a talented boxer, throughout his career he never defeated a killer, which is the standard by which casual boxing fans judge fighters to determine whether or not they deserve to be regarded as highly as they do. After the first round, Fulton conceded the match. There was no delay in any manner. As soon as he realized the speed, power, prowess, and technical ability, especially with the jab, stated Kriegel of the opening round of the fight. Did Fulton give up after the first round when he realized how tough the competition was going to be? It seems to be the case. Overwhelming edge in terms of skill, it seemed as if he immediately gave up. The man who was smaller won the battle of the jab, and the man who was smaller won the actual battle. Tim Bradley commented on Inoue's victory against Fulton in the jab war by saying, "When you win the jab battle, everything else follows, as you can see here." Fulton was defeated by Inoue. He has now won 14 of his previous 15 bouts via knockout, bringing his total to 15. The battle against Nonito Donaire at the beginning of the year is the one and only exception to this rule, remarked Tessitore. Kriegel said, "It goes without saying that Nonito Donaire is Naoya's hardest opponent to date. This is a reflection of the fact that the Japanese star has a limited resume. In the record books of boxing history, he is just the 22nd man to ever achieve the status of 4-division champion. There have only been 22 of them in total, and he is now considered to be one of them. In other words, only 3 guys have ever accomplished this feat while simultaneously holding the world titles in both the bantamweight and junior featherweight classes. Thus, he has a perfect record of 25-0 in battles for world championships." And that wraps things up. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Please hit the subscribe button and we'll see you in the next one.